So the first movement that we're going to do in our strength workout is the goblet squat, or we're going to call it the half gallon or gallon jug goblet squat. It doesn't really matter for this one for a lot of, if you're new at squatting, which weight that you use, whether you use the half gallon or the gallon. This is actually here to make the movement easier, not harder, because you're going to use it as a little bit of a counterbalance to help you feel like you're not falling backwards. So the goblet squat is extremely, extremely important. Just like the good morning, this is basically the foundation of every other lower body movement that the good morning isn't the foundation of. So between those two things, you're pretty much laying down the foundation for everything that you're going to do lower body wise in the weight room for the rest of your career. So extremely important to master. I can't tell you how much time I spend having to reteach people this when they get to me, even with the pro guys, and it's extremely frustrating. They could be so much better than they already are, so much healthier than they already are, if they had mastered this in the first place. So let's get right into it. Goblet squat. So there's two things that we're going to focus on here first. The first thing, we're going to hold this against our chest. It doesn't really matter how you hold it. You can also let it float off your chest. Like I said, you can use it as a counterbalance, which means that you can let it float in front of you further, which will help make this movement feel a little bit better for some people. So starting on the chest, there's two things we're focusing on. First thing, we're focusing on sitting the hips back first. So before we even bother bending our knees in the squat, we're going to sit the hips back first, like we're reaching for this chair that's behind me. The second thing that we're focusing on is keeping the chest tall throughout this movement. So we're going to sit back, keep the chest tall, go down and under control until we touch the chair, and then stand up. The other thing that we're going to focus on is what I call torquing the knees or twisting the feet out. So our feet are going to be about shoulder, maybe hip width apart, depends on your stance and how you're built. We're going to have the feet turned just barely out, but then once they're in the ground, we're basically going to think about screwing our feet into the ground. And what that's going to do is turn our knees out, and it's going to open our hips up and make this a lot easier for us. So from there, now we sit back, chest is up, down, up. If you're new to the movement, I encourage you to use a chair. It's going to give you more confidence. It's going to let you have a reference point. But then as you get better, you need to be able to squat lower. So what our reference points are, what we're looking for, is your hips, the crease of your hip needs to get below the top of your kneecap is what we're looking for. So we're not necessarily looking for you to sit all the way down where you're sitting on your heels. We just want you to get to where the crease of the hip just gets barely underneath that kneecap, and then we're coming back up with it. So that is the goblet squat. We're going to pair that goblet squat with repeated vertical jumps, and so all that means is that as soon as we hit the ground, we're loading up and going right into the next jump. Make sure we're getting good arm swing with this. I can't tell you how many people I see that jump so ugly when they do all their workouts, and it confuses me why they would do this. When your hips are going down, your arms are going down. When you're rising, your arms are going up. Your arms are helpers. They help you to jump higher. Use them. So we're just going to go 3 for here. So load up, jump, load, jump, load, jump. And when we land, we always land in an athletic position to be able to jump again if we needed to.